Hey everyone, welcome back to Fluent Podcast. I'm here with my co-host, and today we're going to talk about our daily routines.
That's right. We thought it would be fun to share what our typical days look like. And don't worry about new words or expressions you hear. Someone else will explain the vocabulary later, not us.
Exactly. So let's just chat naturally about our routines. I'll start. My day usually begins around 6:30 a.m. when my alarm goes off.
Oh, wow. 6:30. That's pretty early. Do you actually get up right away, or are you one of those people who hit snooze?
I'm totally guilty of hitting snooze. I probably hit it 2 or 3 times before I actually drag myself out of bed. What about you? Are you a morning person?
Not at all. My alarm is set for 7 a.m., but I'm usually not fully awake until I've had my coffee. I'm definitely not one of those people who jumps out of bed feeling refreshed.
I hear you. Coffee is essential. So, what's the first thing you do when you finally get up?
Well, after I stumble to the kitchen and start the coffee maker, I usually check my phone for about 10 minutes. I know they say you shouldn't do that, but I can't help it. I scroll through messages and news while the coffee brews.
Same here. I always tell myself I won't check social media first thing in the morning, but then I end up scrolling for way too long. It's such a bad habit.
Right? And then suddenly it's 7:30 and I'm rushing to get ready. What's your morning routine like after you check your phone?
I try to keep it simple. I shower, brush my teeth, get dressed, the usual stuff, but I always struggle with breakfast. I'm never really hungry in the morning, so I usually just grab something quick.
What do you usually grab?
Usually just a banana or some toast. Sometimes I'll make a smoothie if I have time, but most days I'm running late. I know breakfast is supposed to be the most important meal of the day, but I just can't eat much in the morning.
That's funny because I'm the opposite. I wake up starving. I always make a proper breakfast. Eggs, toast, maybe some fruit. I can't function without a good breakfast.
I'm so jealous. I wish I could be more like that. So after breakfast, do you head straight to work?
Not quite. I usually spend about 20 minutes getting ready, doing my hair, putting on makeup if I'm going to the office. Then I pack my lunch because I hate buying food at work. It's so expensive.
Oh, you pack lunch every day? That's so organized. I'm terrible at that. I always have good intentions on Sunday night. I tell myself I'll meal prep for the whole week.
And then what happens?
And then Monday morning comes and I haven't prepared anything, so I end up buying lunch, which you're right is really expensive. I probably spend way too much money on food during the week.
It's hard to stay consistent with meal prep. Even when I do pack lunch, sometimes I forget it at home and have to buy something anyway.
That's the worst. When you've done all that work preparing food and then you leave it sitting in your fridge. So, what time do you usually leave for work?
I try to leave by 8:15. My commute is about 30 minutes on a good day, but it can take up to 45 minutes if there's traffic. I work downtown, so rush hour can be brutal.
Ugh, traffic is the worst part of the day for me too. I leave around the same time as you, but my commute is a bit shorter, usually about 20 minutes. I listen for podcasts or music to make the drive more bearable.
Podcasts are great for commuting. What kind do you usually listen to?
I'm really into true crime podcasts lately. They help me stay focused on the road instead of getting road rage when people cut me off.
That's smart. I usually listen to music because podcasts make me too focused, and then I miss my exit. So once you get to work, what does your day look like?
Well, I'm lucky because I have a pretty flexible schedule. I don't have to be at my desk at exactly 9 a.m. or anything like that. My boss is pretty laid back about timing as long as we get our work done.
That sounds nice. My workplace is more strict about hours. We have to clock in by 9 a.m., and they notice if you're late too often. But the good thing is we get a full hour for lunch, which is pretty generous.
An hour is great. I technically get an hour too, but I usually end up eating at my desk while working. It's a bad habit, but There's always so much to catch up on.
I used to do that. But then I realized I felt so much better when I actually took a proper break. Now, I try to get away from my computer, even if it's just to eat in the break room or go for a short walk outside.
You're right, I should probably do that more often. Do you eat the lunch you packed, or do you sometimes meet up with coworkers?
Most days I eat what I brought, but on Fridays we have this tradition where a few of us go out together. It's become our little Friday treat. We try different restaurants in the area.
That sounds fun. It's nice to have something to look forward to during the week. Speaking of the end of the week, what time do you usually finish work?
Officially, I'm supposed to finish at 5:30, but it really depends on how busy we are. Some days I'm out the door right on time. Other days I might stay until 6 or even 6:30.
Same here. My official hours end at 5, but I'd say I probably stay late about half the time. It's hard to just drop everything and leave when you're in the middle of a project.
Exactly. And then the commute home is always longer because everyone leaves work around the same time. My 30-minute morning drive becomes 45 minutes going home.
Rush hour is terrible in both directions. By the time I get home, I'm usually pretty tired. What do you like to do to unwind after work?
I try to change clothes as soon as I get home. Getting out of work clothes always makes me feel more relaxed. Then I usually make dinner or figure out what to order if I'm feeling lazy.
Changing clothes is such a good idea. I should start doing that. I often just collapse on the couch in my work clothes and then feel gross later. What do you usually make for dinner?
Nothing too complicated on weekdays. Maybe pasta, a stir fry, or something I can throw in the oven. I save the more elaborate cooking for weekends when I have more energy and time.
That makes sense. I'm embarrassed to admit this, but I probably order takeout 3 or 4 times a week. I know it's not healthy or budget friendly, but after a long day, the last thing I want to do is cook.
Don't feel bad about that. We all have those weeks where we rely on takeout more than we'd like to. The important thing is finding what works for your lifestyle.
Thanks. That makes me feel better. So after dinner, how do you spend your evenings?
It depends on the day. Sometimes I'll watch Netflix or read a book. Other times I'll call my family or catch up with friends. I try not to do work-related stuff in the evenings unless it's really urgent.
That's a good boundary to have. I'm not great at that. I often check work emails before bed, which probably isn't good for my sleep.
Yeah, I've heard that looking at screens before bed can make it harder to fall asleep. What time do you usually go to bed?
I aim for 10:30, but it's usually closer to 11 or 11:30 by the time I actually turn off the lights. I always think I'll go to bed early, but then I get distracted by something.
Story of my life. I tell myself I'll be in bed by 10, but then I remember I need to do laundry, or I start watching just one episode of a show, and suddenly it's midnight.
Just one episode is so dangerous, especially with those shows that end on cliffhangers. Before you know it, you've watched 3 episodes and it's way past your bedtime.
Totally. And then the next morning when that alarm goes off at 6:30 or 7, you regret staying up so late.
And the cycle starts all over again. It's funny how we never seem to learn from our mistakes when it comes to bedtime.
Right? We keep thinking, tomorrow I'll go to bed earlier, but then tomorrow comes and we do the exact same thing.
Well, at least we're not alone in having these struggles with our daily routines. I think a lot of people can relate to what we've been talking about today.
Definitely. Whether it's hitting snooze too many times, spending too much on lunch, or staying up too late watching TV, these are pretty universal experiences.
All right, that's it from us today. Now it's time for the vocabulary breakdown. We'll see you next time.
Hi, everyone. Now let's break down some useful words and expressions from today's conversation about daily routines. Word 1, hit snooze. This means to press the button on your alarm clock to sleep a few more minutes. For example, I hit snooze 3 times this morning and was late for work. Word 2, drag myself out of bed. This means to force yourself to get up when you don't want to. For example, it's so hard to drag myself out of bed on cold winter mornings. Word 3, stumble. This means to walk in an unsteady way, usually when you're tired or not fully awake. For example, I stumbled to the bathroom without turning on the lights. Word 4, scroll through. This means to look at information on your phone or computer by moving up and down. For example, I scroll through social media every morning with my coffee. Word 5, grab something. This means to take or get something quickly. For example, I'll grab a sandwich for lunch on my way to the meeting. Word 6, running late. This means you don't have enough time and might be late for something. For example, I'm running late for my appointment, so I'll take a taxi. Word 7, meal prep. This means to prepare meals in advance, usually for the whole week. For example, I do meal prep on Sundays so I don't have to cook during the week. Word 8, road hour. This is the time when many people are traveling to or from work, so traffic is heavy. For example, I avoid driving downtown during rush hour because of the traffic. Word 9, road rage. This means getting very angry while driving, usually because of other drivers. For example, he got road rage when someone cut in front of him. Word 10, clock in. This means to record the time you arrive at work, usually with a time card or computer. For example, we have to clock in before 9 a.m. or we get in trouble. Word 11, unwind. This means to relax after a busy or stressful day. For example, I like to unwind by taking a hot bath after work. Word 12, cliffhanger. This is when a TV show or movie ends at an exciting moment, making you want to watch more. For example, the episode ended on a cliffhanger, so I had to watch the next one.